The ocean has always terrified humanity, not because it's empty, but because we don't know what lies below. This is part 3 of our series exploring the sea monsters said to haunt the oceans. If you haven't seen the earlier parts, they're on screen right now and more are coming. Now let's go back into the deep.
Dobar Chu. The Dobar Chu originates from Irish folklore, closely linked to isolated lakes, slow-moving rivers, and coastal waters. It was described as a massive, otter-like creature, far larger and more aggressive than any known otter species. Witness accounts portray it with a long, muscular body, dense, dark fur, and powerful jaws capable of inflicting severe wounds. Unlike ordinary otters, it was said to move with unusual speed and confidence, even toward humans. The most famous story dates back to the 18th century, involving a woman who was reportedly attacked while bathing in a remote lake. Her body was later discovered with injuries believed to be caused by a large aquatic animal, sparking widespread fear and reinforcing the legend. The incident became one of the strongest references used whenever the Dobar Chu was discussed. Some researchers suggest the legend may be based on encounters with an extinct giant otter species, or unusually large individuals whose behavior was misunderstood and later exaggerated through oral tradition. Whether the creature ever truly existed or not, the Dobar Chu came to represent a specific fear: still water that appears calm, silent, and harmless, while concealing something dangerous beneath the surface. Jörmungandr, the world serpent. Jörmungandr, known as the world serpent, comes from Norse mythology, rooted in the seafaring cultures of Scandinavia, especially Norway and Iceland. According to legend, he is so massive that he encircles the earth, resting beneath the ocean with his body wrapped around the world and his tail in his mouth. The myth consistently emphasizes scale larger than ships, islands, and coastlines. He is described as a gigantic sea serpent with a long, scaled body and venom powerful enough to poison the sea and sky. His movements were said to cause violent waves and coastal flooding. The legend likely draws from centuries of sea serpent sightings reported by northern European sailors. Some accounts from the 1700s and 1800s describe snake-like creatures stretching the length of villages before disappearing beneath the waves. In Norse myth, Jörmungandr is the son of Loki, cast into the ocean where he continued to grow until he became unavoidable. He does not hunt or roam, he waits. At Ragnarok, he is said to rise and battle the god Thor, flooding the world in the process. Today, Jörmungandr appears in God of War and Assassin's Creed as a symbol of an unstoppable force. He doesn't chase, he waits beneath the sea. Aspidochelone. The aspidochelone appears in medieval European maritime folklore, particularly in early bestiaries and sailors' accounts of the open ocean. It was described as a creature so enormous it resembled a floating island, with a rough, stone-like surface covered in what looked like sand or vegetation. Sailors believed they had reached solid land, anchoring their ships, unloading supplies, and even lighting fires on its back. According to legend, that moment sealed their fate. As soon as the fire burned, the island would slowly submerge, revealing itself as a living creature. Ships, crews, and cargo vanished beneath the waves, not through violence, but through movement. Historians suggest the legend may have originated from encounters with sleeping whales, massive sea turtles, or volcanic islands mistaken for land during long voyages. What made the aspidochelone truly dangerous wasn't aggression. It was the illusion of safety and the fatal mistake of trusting what looked solid in an endless sea. Kushtaka. The kushtaka comes from the folklore of the Tlingit people of Alaska, closely tied to the cold, remote coastal waters of the North Pacific, where fog, strong tides, and freezing temperatures are constant dangers. It's described as a shape-shifting sea creature, most often appearing as an otter-like animal or a partially human figure. In some stories, it walks upright near the shoreline before slipping back into the water. Unlike massive sea monsters, the kushtaka is subtle, blending into its surroundings and making it difficult to identify as a threat. According to legend, it lures people by imitating human cries, laughter, or familiar voices, drawing victims toward unstable rocks, icy surf, or fast-moving tides. Those who follow are said to disappear, leaving no sign of a struggle. The kushtaka was feared not for strength, but for manipulation. Many researchers believe the legend served as a practical warning about hypothermia, sudden tides,
and the deadly conditions of Arctic coastlines, where survival depends on judgment and restraint. Its danger didn't come from force. It came from trusting something that sounded human.
Ogopogo, Canada's lake monster. Deep within Lake Okanagan in British Columbia, Canada, lives the legend of Ogopogo, one of North America's most famous lake monsters. Ogopogo is described as a long, serpent-like creature with dark, smooth skin and a small, horse-like or reptilian head. Sightings estimate its length at up to 15 meters, 49 feet, with a body that moves in large humps across the water's surface. The legend originates with the Syilx indigenous people, who believed a powerful lake spirit lived beneath the water and demanded offerings for safe passage. Travelers who crossed the lake without respect were said to face danger. Over time, this spirit evolved into the creature later named Ogopogo. Since the early 1900s, there have been dozens of reported sightings, along with blurry photographs and short video clips, usually showing dark shapes moving just below the surface. Scientists explain most cases as waves, floating logs, swimming animals, or optical illusions caused by light and distance on the lake. Still, Ogopogo's presence has become part of local identity, with statues, mascots, and tourism built around the legend, earning it the nickname Canada's Loch Ness Monster. And like Nessie, the sightings never fully stop. The bloop. In 1997, underwater microphones operated by the US Navy detected a sound so powerful it was recorded by sensors over 3,000 miles apart. The signal became known as the bloop. At the time, scientists couldn't identify it. The sound didn't match any known marine animal, ship noise, or underwater explosion. Its source was traced to the Southern Ocean, one of the most remote and least explored regions on Earth. The sound itself was extremely low frequency and lasted several seconds, suggesting something enormous was involved. Its volume implied a source larger than any known animal. Years later, researchers proposed that the bloop was caused by ice quakes, massive underwater fractures of Antarctic glaciers. This explanation fits the location and acoustic profile. Still, the sheer scale of the sound captured public attention. Some believed it was the call of a gigantic, unknown creature living in the deep. And even with a scientific explanation, the bloop remains one of the most famous and unsettling sounds ever recorded in the ocean, a reminder of how little we truly know about what happens beneath the surface. Scylla. Scylla originates from ancient Greek mythology, said to dwell along narrow sea passages and steep coastal cliffs, especially dangerous straits where ships had little room to maneuver. She was described as a stationary sea monster with multiple snapping heads and long, grasping necks that could reach directly onto passing ships. Unlike roaming sea creatures, Scylla never pursued her prey. She waited in the rocks, hidden until vessels came too close. Sailors didn't see her approach. Instead, they noticed crew members suddenly vanishing from the deck, taken silently and without warning. Greek legends portrayed Scylla as an unavoidable threat. Sail too close to her cliffs and you would lose men. Avoid her entirely and risk other dangers at sea. Many historians believe the myth reflects the real hazards of jagged rock formations, powerful currents, and large predatory animals concentrated in narrow straits. Scylla wasn't feared because she hunted ships. She was feared because ships sailed straight into her territory. So, did these sea monsters really haunt the oceans? Some were real, some were legends, and some live only in fear. But the ocean is vast, and we've explored less than 10% of it. If you want part 4, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the depths.